Hey, what's up? Welcome, everyone. Off the top, episode 6.
Episode 6.
I'm with my main man, Bird.
Yes, that's right. I'm here with Aaron Flick.
And I got some big news for you. We have officially opened up our 4th school for the Fade It Forward program.
Ooh.
So we are headed out west to beautiful San Diego, California. So, yeah, we have 8 new students that are going to be out there. So, for those who don't know the Fade It Forward program, we're providing full-ride barber scholarships to low-income students all across the nation. We've been in Chicago, St. Louis, Cleveland, my hometown, and then we're actually going out west now. So, we're heading out west to San Diego. So, we opened up our 4th location, and it's amazing the impact that we're making here. We're starting to have students graduate. Our St. Louis classes had, I think 4 or 5 students graduate and, pass their test. And now they got big boy, big girl jobs. They're cutting hair, getting paid in the shop, which is awesome. And it's just amazing to just be a part of that environment and to give back to the industry that's given back to us for 103
Over 100
years.
years.
Like,
right.
it's incredible. So, yeah, San Diego, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to fly out. I don't know why they didn't fly me out to be there for the initiation, but maybe the next time.
On the next one. I would love to be there too with you.
I'll
Maybe
go to
we fly
graduation.
together.
Yeah.
Yes. So huge shout out to everyone that pushed that so that we can have it done in San Diego. Fade It Forward program. Shout out to Wahl Professional for doing beautiful things like that.
So,
amazing project.
So next up, they're looking in Texas is the next state. I can't tell you what city. There's obviously a lot of cities down there, but
sure.
Texas is our next location. We're looking to expand to 20 cities within the next 2 years or so, which is a big ask, but it's a really big deal.
There's a good purpose behind this, so I think it will happen, and it's beautiful, and I'm happy. That's another reason why I'm always happy about being a part of an amazing company like Wahl.
Yeah, it's this one's been really special to start working with this program, just because it's different when you can see the lives that are being impacted and kind of careers being made. And even working with Garland, who I've worked with for 9-10 years, you can see he's got a little extra pep in his step because it's inspiring to him. He's able to, this is going to make him sound old. He's not old, but help the next generation of barbers and stylists. It's kind of reinvigorated him a bit. And again, I think he's someone we're going to have on this summer on the podcast, and we'll talk all about not only his story, but the Fade It Forward journey as well.
Oh, I would love that. Well, I can't wait for that time, but I got to tell you something. This time I got something in the box for you.
Oh, yeah?
I got a little surprise for you. I actually put it in there myself. I had to order it.
Please tell me it's a matching shirt.
It is not a matching. You like this?
Yeah. I don't know if I can pull it off.
I think you can pull anything off.
It's true. You got to have the right confidence, right?
I got to say something. Remember, everything comes off the top. I just thought of something. What if we align a show that you're doing and that I'm doing, and you let me dress you? We'll film it. I'll bring you shopping, and I'll dress you for the day.
That sounds like a prank show, but yeah, let's.
I won't dress you bad. I'll make sure it matches your whole vibe. Okay. I'm not gonna put a skirt on you or I've wore skirts before, but
hey, fashion's fashion, whatever.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the box.
What do we got in the box here?
I want you to open it. What's in the box?
I rarely get to open this, so I'm kind of excited.
Yes. Let's check what's in the box today.
Ooh.
Yes. That's right.
I feel very festive.
Do you even know why I put these flags in there?
I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Because you like tea and crumpets.
All right, so what's in this box today? Ooh.
I feel like I'm at the Olympics.
Do you know what flag that is?
I believe this is Great Britain, UK.
The UK. All right, so the reason that I put these in there is because we have a special surprise this year. There's a show. It's a major show. It's called the Connecticut Barber Expo.
I'm well aware of that one.
And this year, Wahl Professional will be having the one and only, all the way from the UK, Alan Beek in the building.
Yes, absolutely. I was so stoked to hear. So he's been working with Wahl for, a handful of years, but never for Wahl. So now he's, I believe he's creative director of Wahl UK, working really closely with Simon Shaw and then obviously the education team. So when we found out he's officially he's full team Wahl, we're like, dude, we got to bring this guy over because he is a beast.
Talent. He is talented. Not only the way that he cuts or the education, his stage presence, everything, the personality. He's an amazing person and an entrepreneur and a half. Entrepreneur and a half, meaning extra entrepreneur. Amazing.
Yeah, so he's going to be at the CT Barber Expo. He'll be doing the education stage, and he's going to be doing it with Kevin Nguyen, Yakuza Barber. So those two will be tag teaming that education stage. If anyone hasn't attended that show, as far as education goes, it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's usually 800 to 1,000 barbers and stylists all just sitting, and it's amazing to watch and network and see that live audience. You don't see that with education at shows in general.
And that's just the education, guys. I mean, the show in total, there's about 10,000 plus people.
Yeah, it's a massive show.
Huge.
So we're going to have, obviously, those two on the main stage for education. We'll also have a stage at our booth. So, Alan will be cutting there. We're going to have Kevin cutting there. Nieves, How to Fade Hair, he's going to be there cutting. We're trying to lock in A-Rod, too, to get a spot. So it's going to be a busy day at the Wahl booth. We might have something new at the booth that day.
Ooh. I know there's a guy named Bird Mena that'll be there. Back in his hometown.
Yeah, some guy named will be hosting for us.
What kind of name is that? So I'll be there hosting Wahl Professional CT Barber Expo. I also want to put a picture of me at the first CT Barber Expo right here somewhere on the screen. I've been going since the first one ever.
Yeah, I remember seeing that picture of you in the crowd, just standing and staring at the main stage. I don't remember what color hair. You might have had yellow hair in that one.
I don't know what color, but yeah, it's actually been an honor to be able to see the show grow and see the industry grow, and to have my good friend Alan come over and experience the CT Barber Expo. I'm actually from Connecticut, so it means a lot to me. Shout out to Jay Majors for holding it down with an amazing event too.
Yeah, and it's a big deal for us to have Alan because, I feel like we talk about it on almost every episode, but we're a global company. So to bring some of the top talent from across the globe, bringing in maybe some different techniques and styles is really going to be really important. And it's going to be really great for the audience, for people attending. It's not going to be the same thing that they see every day on Instagram or on YouTube. This is different education, and it's the real deal. Alan Beek is the real deal. So
can't wait.
It's going to be really fun. So it'll be an awesome show. And again, I'm pretty confident we're going to have some new items at the booth that day. So we won't leak anything here.
No leaks. But make sure you pull up. Make sure you're there. Make sure that you're there early.
Get there early.
We've had launches at other shows, and it just sells out in a few minutes, few hours, so make sure you do not miss out on this at all.
And we're gonna have a sick layout too, different booth layout than we've ever had before, so
I can't wait.
It promises to be a really good show. It's gonna be really fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
We are global, not local. Shout out to Simon Shaw.
Yes. Amen.
Hopefully we get him here one day on the podcast.
But speaking about tools, we have the master
of tools,
the queen of clippers and trimmers here for an interview, and I'm so stoked. I'm stoked for those who somehow don't know her, for us to share her story, because she's an awesome friend. She's an awesome talent, an awesome barber, and this lady knows
a living legend.
Knows the ins and outs of everything. Like the cordless legend?
Like a cordless legend.
Buy now at wahlpro.com.
Honestly, what an honor to have this person here today on the Off the Top podcast. I actually did a few live streams with her last year and the year before, and it was some of the most popular ones on the Wahlpro page. People wanted us back and back and back because of the amount of information. So today we're going to try to get as much information out of her.
So let's drop some knowledge with Kristi Faulkner.
Kristi Faulkner is in the building. Hello. I wish we could do like applause effect. Hello. Yes.
Thanks.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here, especially with you two. It's funny to see you two together. It's amazing.
We're the same height in person. It's weird, isn't it?
You never thought that, huh?
I'm really looking forward to when you guys like dress the same.
So you think that we should do that, right?
I think that it'd be amazing.
I think it would tell a story because we here host the Off the Top podcast. Maybe we can do it if we ever take it on the go, the podcast, into a show.
On the road, exactly.
On the
road.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be cool. So, Kristi, how long did it take you to get here today? Because I need to kind of know where you're coming from.
Coming from Clearwater, Florida. So not far, but with traffic, about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, depending on traffic. But you guys are worth it.
Far enough.
Far enough.
Clearwater, Florida.
But
all
you're
the way to
worth
Orlando.
it. Yes, all the way to Orlando.
Thank you so much. I love the wall hat.
Thanks. This is like old school, like myself. So yeah, this is old school. This is one of our first truck driver hats we came out with.
How long have you been with Wahl?
Now 14 years, going on 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Teenager.
Teenager. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been licensed this is actually my 30th year. I've been licensed for 30 years and I've been with Wahl going on 14.
You've been licensed for
30.
30
Yes.
years?
Yes, 30.
Holy smokes, what a talent. That's crazy. Props to you.
Thank you.
That's
It
awesome.
doesn't ever seem like that though. It just seems like it's gone by so fast. It really has.
So I know this story, but I would love to hear it from you. How did you get involved with working with Wahl Clipper?
Very lucky. No, I actually always tell the story because people ask me all the time, and I always loved education. So I've always used Wahl Clippers. I've always bought Wahl Clippers, but so I always, I'm a big believer in doing different textures of hair. So I go to all the different all the different hair shows. But the biggest ethnic hair show in the country is the Bronner Brothers Hair Show. So I'd go every single year. And at that time, unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but Isidore Adams is the creator of our 5-star series at Wahl Clippers. And he'd always be at the booth and he'd always ask me why I was at that show. So I'd always give him a hard time and say, I don't get to go to the show because I have blonde hair and blue eyes. And he's like, no, you're not a barber. And I was like, no, I'm a barber. He thought like I did nails or something like that. So every single year he wanted me to get on stage and do a haircut. And I just was, I was like, okay, I'm not ready for this. I'd always tell him I'm going to go take a class. I'll be back, and it was probably the 5th year. And I was at the show and he's finally like, okay, you need to get on stage to do a haircut. And a good friend of mine that actually we've worked together. She's worked at my shop for the last 25 years. She was with me at the show and she says, Kristi, just get up there and do a haircut. I'm tired of him always asking you. And so got up there on stage. I was on stage with G Wiz. And at that point, Anthony Barber was there as well. So they kicked Anthony off the stage and they're like, get up there. And I thought I was going to throw up. I mean, You
just got thrown up there.
Yeah.
Just like that.
They found me a model. We talked for a minute. I get on stage and it was so funny because before I get on stage, we're standing there and Anthony says to my friend, does she really know what she's doing? And my friend was like, oh yeah, you're good. It's good. It's all good. And he's like, I don't have a good feeling about this. And so I get up there with G Wiz and he didn't know I was coming on stage with him. And he was like, who is this? And why are you here? Like, he was like, if anybody knows G Wiz, he's going to always tell jokes. So he's telling jokes that I'm there to hold his cape or like to clean his clippers or, you know, whatever. So, but ever since then, me and G Wiz are always on stage together, and we love each other. So that's been it. So ever since that show, I've been with Wahl Clippers.
Yeah, it's an awesome story, and you never got to meet Isadore.
No.
Like Isadore was, man, what a ball of life.
Yeah.
And you know what, like Kristi said, Isadore and Bo Langley, both of them have passed away. They both created the 5-star line.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're going to be talking a lot of tool knowledge today. Like a lot of it came from, you know, their research. They're traveling around the country talking to barbers and stylists and really developing that line. And, you know, specifically for that multicultural, like thick textured hair, like that, they really put that work in. But yeah, if you knew Isadore, like that story doesn't surprise you at all. Like Isadore would absolutely he would throw people to the wolves because he wanted to see what you're made of.
Oh yeah,
Right.
sink or swim. And then on top of it, then you put on a microphone and want you to speak about it, you know, and really and talk. But that was the thing. That's why, you know, really I know so much about the tools, Wahl tools, is because Isadore would call me every single week and quiz me on the tools. He would say, what kind of blade is on this? What kind of blade is on that? How fast does it go? Why does it do that? Why are the teeth better on this? What is, you know, so we'd take a clipper apart when we'd be together. You know, we'd learn about, you know, is it a shunt or a super shunt? Is it 5,000, a 9,000? Like he would quiz me on clippers and know how to take the blade off, put the blade back on, you know, really, really know what we were selling. So he wanted you to be informed on what was in your hand to be able, because, and especially for me, I was so grateful for him for that, because me standing on stage, especially like at the Bronner Brothers show, they're like, okay, they already think I'm going to tear somebody's head up. They already think, okay, this white girl, she's going to tear him up. I already know it. And then on 2, then you always have that feedback from the audience, just testing you, trying you, you know. And so if you don't know what you're talking about, it's over. It's a wrap. So he really made us knowledgeable of what was in our hand.
Wow. I never heard the story, and I wish I could have met them. But, I mean, I know for a fact that Kristi, when I've talked to her before, she knows the ins and outs of every single tool.
Yeah, Isadore is a trip man, but now we know. But again, now we know why Kristi knows how much, and it makes so much sense, because if you're going to be put into an environment that, let's be honest, you're probably a little threatened by, or people are not going to think, you know, much of you. You better be equipped with knowledge. And we know Kristi can cut hair, but to be able to spit out every single fact about it, every single tool was really important and vital. So, it's carrying you like way past things now to like you've been traveling the world cutting with Wahl clippers. So it's crazy to see how that journey has changed. And I guess we can thank Isadore a little bit, and obviously your talent, but we can thank Isadore for,
well, actually just even believing in me.
Yeah.
Because like I always say now, I said this to Bird the other day on the live stream. I said to him, if I had to go through what they go through now, you know, to be a part of the Wahl team, you know, I don't think I'd make it, you know, just because it was back then, I was just so passionate about education that I wanted the latest tools. I wanted to know, you know, the latest innovations, what's going on in our industry, you know, so I would just go to all the shows and take all the classes, you know, because then, you know, all that time, that's really just when social media kind of just started. So it was more back then, it was more on a personal, you know. I remember going to the first show, and I had my little business cards, and they were just like regular old business cards. And I remember going to that first show, and every single person that gave me a business card had their picture on it. And I remember going home and telling my husband, I'm like, babe, I gotta get the business cards like with my picture on it. I said, oh my God, you know, and it's just so funny because now like nobody really gives out business cards anymore. But I just remember all those years ago, like how I was like, okay, I gotta step my game up, you know. But it's, you know, it's amazing. But there's a path for everybody,
Right?
You know. So I just was very fortunate that he saw something in me, and also too that there's not now it's more prevalent in our industry that there's more female barbers, but also there's more female barbers that do all different textures of hair. But back then, for me to be standing there, especially in an all black shop, it just wasn't going to happen.
It was rare.
Very.
I need to, after this interview, I need to check my backpack. I might have, like, I usually just keep all business cards, so I might have one of your business cards from
It's the crazy
5-10 years ago.
I mean, you remember back in the day, you have those big, huge, like you used to put all your CDs in.
Yeah.
Oh, you have them with business
Yes,
cards.
yes. I still have that at home.
Well, Bert has that for Pokemon cards.
Yes. Pokemon.
See,
No, but I do have a few friends that have that for business cards. I do save all the business cards. I just have mine in rubber bands, like just like little stacks. Do you have it into like a CD?
I do, so then I could see, because at that point, that's when everybody put their pictures on their cards.
Right.
So then that's how then you're like, oh yeah, that's such and such.
The original timeline or news feed or whatever.
That was, I know.
Original Explore page.
Now we're really telling my age.
Swipe left, swipe right.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking about events, I feel like you are touching on something very important. You were seen, and basically your career changed because you were at events.
Yeah.
Meaning you were investing into being at events. To anybody that might be listening, what is something you could tell them, the importance of going to these events and education?
Well, one is just even the marketing aspect of it, even just, marketing yourself, really getting to know other barbers in the industry, making connections, making friendships, because you just don't ever know when you can go back and say, wow, that person, I met them, maybe they can, we can collab on something. And that's huge, but also too, I mean, it also goes to being professional. So you're a licensed barber, you're a licensed cosmetologist, you put the time in, you put the money in, really at the end of the day, that's a tax write-off. So you write off your flight, you write off your hotel, you write off your food. I mean, it's an investment in your future. And sometimes I think barbers and cosmetologists don't look at it that way. They're like, why should I go to the show? I can just watch it on YouTube. But YouTube's not in person. So there's like so many people over the years, actually, like I know for sure too, Rick, the People's Barber, would come to the Wall stage every single time. He'd come to me like, Kristi, it's good to see you, shake my hand. How do I get how can I be a part of the team? Ask me. And he was consistent every single year. And now he's a part of the team. And Tina, who you had on the other, the last one, she came up to me every single time. Kristi, it's so good to see you. How are things going? So and so. So it's a small world. So you just don't know, who might be paying attention.
Who you're connecting with.
Yeah.
You say that. I can tell you that April from our team was very similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was.
Going to a lot of trade shows and making sure that she made herself like present at our booth. And again, I had that tool knowledge. And then also one of our newest members, Javi from Tampa.
Yeah, he is too.
Like that dude used to come because
like
he used to work with
the booth.
Now, he used to work with Gentleman Republic. And he'd be on their stage, but every time before the show, after the show, he would just say hi, like, how's everything going? I know he would sit, like, if he wasn't educating and he had a quote unquote break, like he would actually like sit and watch and learn from maybe Kristi was up on stage. But then again, he would make himself present and he would like say hi to everyone in the booth, get to know people's names. I feel like we might be opening up a can of worms and like everyone's going to want to get to know us, but it's important.
It is important.
Right.
It's important that, that's just being professional as well. I mean, you can do don't get me wrong. I think it's amazing, like the social media, but also I think that's a lost form of just personal connection. That's the only thing I do see is like sometimes you see people that are just starting, they don't know how to connect personally, like in person, where they can DM you to death, they can do this can do this or this, but when they finally see you in person, do you know how to speak well? Can you articulate what you're trying to get? There's, at the end of the day, you also have to know how to communicate.
Well, and that's one, it's a relationship business, so that networking is super important. But I think the other aspect, to your point, everyone, a lot of people are online and they have great social following. They put out really good content. They can obviously cut hair really well, but then there's obviously the aspect of like not only teaching, but like performing, like being up on a stage. and like you can watch it online, but that's not, you don't grasp really what all it entails until you're in person in the crowd and seeing what's going on, or you get thrown up on the stage.
Right, the whole experience and it all, like for me, when I would go to shows, I would also look at like the production of it, like, wow, all this stuff just to, all this stuff that's going on behind the scenes to make this one thing happen, so it was very inspiring. I kind of got thrown like that too. In a way, I got flown out to California, and they just threw me up on a stage. I was nervous, but you know what? I could tell you from that flight, which I've never said before on camera, but I'll say it here. We changed somebody's life that day on a plane. It was my first flight ever. They booked me to go to California. The person that was sitting next to us on the plane, he's like, "Hey, are you like a rapper or something?" You a rapper or something? I'm like, nah, I'm in the barber industry, so on and so forth. We talked a little bit. I told him a little bit about the barber industry. And then the last thing he said on the plane ride was, oh, you got to go to In-N-Out Burger. Because it was my first time in California, so I didn't know. Long story short, I never heard back from that. It was just a person that I met on an airplane. A few years later, like maybe 5 years later or so, I get a paragraph. Very long paragraph on my Instagram account, and it started like, "Hey man, I don't know if you remember me, but I was on an airplane going to California with you, and ever since I talked to you about the barber industry, I decided to become a barber, and I waited all these years so that I could go through school and get my license, so then I could send you this message and show you that I graduated hair school. So I really appreciate you changing my life." And then I was on tour at that time. So he was like, "I'm going to see you on tour, and I can't wait to see you." I was just like, what?
That's awesome.
Is that crazy?
That's awesome.
That's nuts.
But that's what it's all about, though.
Right?
Really, that's what it's all about. I mean, I've gotten messages after shows, and that's the one thing that I see even in you, Bird, is you want to be relatable to people. I always want people I want to be approachable. I want people to know that they can come ask me a question. I'm happy to talk to them. And I think that's the biggest part with COVID that I've missed the most, is the social interaction of really being able to talk with people. That was hard for me, just because I love for people to come and ask me questions. I mean, that's how you learn.
That connection in person.
It is that
insane.
connection.
And the reason I asked the question earlier about, investing into like shows and stuff was because I know there's like barbers and stylists that just want to be at the salon, and or at their barbershop, and they just want to care about their clients. So like, to those that might be listening or have a friend that's like that, why is it important to even tap into the industry? Does that make sense?
And it's interesting because never in a million years would I've ever thought that, one, I would be working for the biggest clipper company in the world. Two, that they have given me the opportunities they have, and it's kind of funny because I have my life at the shop, and I have like generations of customers. I know I've been doing it a long time, because the other week I had a little boy come in that I gave him his first haircut when he was 1. And now I'm cutting his son's hair for the first time in 2 weeks, and he's turning 1. So yeah, that's
cool.
Crazy, right? And so, but that's the thing is, so I have my amazing, shop life, but then a lot of times people don't even realize, like, I almost have this whole other life, with Wahl Clippers, like education, and
right.
and it's amazing. But if it wasn't for me wanting to learn more, I would have never had this.
And your clients probably are like, like when you tell them, as an example, I know that you've been to China before to educate and stuff, right? How do your clients feel like when you say, "Oh, well, I'm going to China," because you're just basically the barber, but then you're like, "I'm going to China."
They're so excited for me. They really are. They're just wonderful. They're like family to me. So they're excited. They were a little put off with the China trip, because that was almost a month, and they all were freaking out.
What?
Well, who's gonna cut my hair? Who's gonna do my hair? But they're always supportive.
You must be a pretty good barber if you're getting like 3 or 4 generations coming through. Like, you must be doing a pretty good job if someone has been around for 20 years and them trust you with their son. So
Well,
props to you.
Well, but
For sure.
but I do. I have a lot of little kids, and sometimes I think that's where, as female barbers, we kind of we have that calmness to us, more of a nurturing, to us, So, a lot of times I will do a first haircut because, you sometimes have to calm them down. Sometimes they're not willing participants to get their first haircut, So, I mean, so that's
Birds still like that.
Yeah, I'm the worst.
Well,
you don't want me as much. I'm actually letting my hair grow right now. I look a little
You look like the real Slim Shady. Are you a rapper?
No, not technically.
So Kristi, what the people really want to hear is some tool knowledge, because
Okay.
again, we let it off with you being like the Clipper Queen and you told us your story of why you started out learning all that stuff. You kind of had to, and Isadora kind of forcing you into, expanding your knowledge and all that. So we got some tool questions. I'm going to open up Instagram because I sent out a story to get some Q&As from people.
Cool. Okay.
But my first question to lead off is, there's so many differences in blades, but like, what is the difference in a 21 degree bevel blade, a 13 degree bevel blade, a fade blade? Like, are they all the same thing? What are some of the key differences for people to understand?
That's probably one of the biggest things that I go over in the classes, the classes that we teach, is the differences in the blades. Just because, I do so many different textures of hair, I want to encourage other people to do as many different textures as they can. Hair is hair, money is money. I don't see the color of their skin. I don't see the color of their hair walking through the door. I just see dollars. And that's really what it comes down to. But if you don't know your tools, then you're not going to be successful. So that's the biggest thing. So when people start, doing hair, barbing, so on and so forth, a lot of people will start out with like our classic senior. And that's got our 21 degree bevel blade. That has like a ridge blade. So it has the ridges in the back of it. That's, the best for wet and dry hair. It's really, really great for off the scalp cutting, clipper over comb. It has a softer finish because that blade is not designed to be zeroed out, for where the stationary blade and the cutting blade are completely even. So that's an amazing tool. Like that blade right there is really, really good, like on textures of hair like myself, finer textures. Because if you've ever used a clipper that has a surgical blade, the 13 degree bevel, on lighter hair, and you start to see those lines of demarcation, but almost like diagonally through the haircut, it's because you're using the wrong blade. And a lot of people don't realize that, because most barbers think that everything has to be the sharpest it can be. It has to be a surgical steel flat blade. They don't realize that some textures of hair, even coarse hair, if they want a more softer finish, they need to go ahead and use their 21 degree bevel blade. So you always want both in your arsenal. So the one other thing that's really great to remember is our whole entire 5-star series was designed for multicultural hair cutting. But that series right there is going to have the sharpest blades, the most precise blades, and they all are going to be the 13 degree surgical steel flat blade. So that flat blade goes directly flat to the head. It's going to cut it off very, very quickly. It is designed to be zeroed out. So that's going to get out all your lines of demarcation, but that's going to come off very, very quickly. So if you use that blade on somebody that has very fine hair, they're going to basically look bald. So if somebody comes in and says to you, I want more of a gentleman's haircut, I don't really want to see the scalp too much, and he has a lighter hair texture, and you use that surgical steel blade on him, you're just going to have to talk him into a brand new haircut because the effect of it is going to be really different, because that's what that blade is designed to do. So that's the biggest thing. Like, I know in my classes, I say to them, always have both blades. Be ready for any texture of hair that walks through your barbershop. Be ready to make the money.
That's a fact. And what about when it comes to trimmers? There's a few different blades there. What are the purposes? One is like a T, one is standard. What would you use? One and then another.
So like, especially for trimmers, everybody always thinks the trimmers has to be the sharpest. They think that they need to be completely zeroed out. Yeah, you always want to have one trimmer, like our Detailer LI, that's fire. It's going to be zeroed out no matter what. That's going to give you that crisp line. Then we have a trimmer, like, let's say the biggest selling trimmer in the world is the Wahl Peanut. Always has been, always will be. That's all there is to it. But that blade is a fixed blade. You cannot adjust that blade to 0. How it comes out the box, to how it stays. But that blade is made to have a softer finish. So it doesn't mean the harder you press with your peanut, the more precise it's going to be. It just means you're going to give them a big red mark on the back of their neck. So every blade has a purpose. So, people say, why are there so many clippers? Why are there so many trimmers? Because they all have a special purpose. So.
And you have a collection.
I love them. They're my babies.
Do you know how many you have off the top of your head?
It was during, what?
So many.
It was during COVID. And the funny thing is I've always kept our boxes for the clippers. And I didn't start it right way in the beginning because I didn't realize the magnitude that it would have.
Right.
But once I started doing that, during COVID, I laid all the boxes flat in my floor in the living room. And it was hard to take the picture because there were so many. And so I posted it one day. I'll have to repost it again after this. But
we'll post it here on the video.
Yeah,
Make sure you send it to us.
Did you have to use the panoramic view?
Yeah. It was.
Or Ali, what's the widest camera?
Yeah, I know. I know. I was listening. I need to download one of those apps. But right. But so I can't tell you how many I have, but there's a lot.
Okay. Well, we'll put them up here on the screen.
Yeah.
Let's head over to Aaron. Aaron's got some questions that are coming straight from Instagram.
This is from the gram. So what's the difference between cordless Magic Clip, Legend, and Senior?
The cordless Magic Clip and
cordless Legend,
the cordless Legend and the cordless Senior. Well, the Magic Clip is in a category of its own. So you can't really compare that to anything else. I mean, you can compare it as far as the motor goes because they all have rotary motors. But the cordless Magic Clip is the only clipper on the market that has our stagger tooth blade. So that means there's a small blade in between every long tooth. There's a small tooth. So as it's cutting, it's helping you lay the hair down. It's texturing it a little bit. It's amazing for on the scalp fading. It's amazing for wave cuts. So that one's in a category of itself. They all have the same motor. So your cordless Legend, that's the only one on the market that has the longest throw. So what that means is sometimes people will think that your lever is broken because it goes so far back, but that blade truly opens to a 1 all the way open. It's the longest feed. So that means you have more range of fading with the Legend. So if you really, really like some people get frustrated, if they go from no guard to a 1 guard or from a 1 to a 2, during a fade and they get that little bit of a lip, that Legend is going to knock it out. It's amazing. So now the cordless Senior, that's our 5-star Senior. That's going to have our, like we said before, our 13-degree bevel, our surgical steel flat blade. And that's amazing for on the scalp cutting, all different fading techniques. It's going to have that powerful rotary motor as well.
And which one would be best for someone that's starting, like a student?
A student?
That's just getting started with fading, let's say.
You know what? I probably would tell somebody to go with the cordless Magic Clip just because that stagger tooth blade, I don't want to say it's more forgiving. I want to say you have a little bit more of a range with it. And I think it softens even the fade a little bit. So I think as far as a student goes, that would be a really, really good base to start with.
Thank you. Shout out to all the questions.
Yeah, good questions.
So next question, I know the answer to this, but I'll ask you. Is the Sterling Mag trimmer, is it adjustable?
No, the Sterling Mag trimmer is not adjustable. The Big Mag now is the clipper, and now that is adjustable. But the Sterling Mag trimmer, no, it is not adjustable. It's like we just talked about the peanut. How the peanut blade comes, that's exactly how the Sterling Mag blade is. How it comes out of the box, that's how it stays. You cannot adjust it yourself. I feel that the Sterling Mag cuts a little bit tighter than our peanut does because the teeth are a little bit closer together. So you're going to really get that's why I think the biggest thing where people go wrong is the pressure that they use with the mag, just very light taps. Always making sure your trimmer is at a 90-degree angle, that your cutting blade and your stationary blade are always meeting the skin at the same time. That you're not laying the trimmer flat to the skin, because then you're going to have issues.
You know what I think about when we're speaking about this? I think about in movies, usually actors never have sharp haircuts at all. They have very soft It doesn't even look like they have haircuts, but there's people working behind the scenes cutting their hair and styling them. But everything just looks so natural.
Lived in
Right.
haircuts. Yeah. Exactly.
Kind of like mine's right now. No, I'm just kidding.
But see, but that's a good point.
But that is something I think about.
Because that's the difference between like me deciding if I wanted a more softer natural finish. I'm not going to use my detailer LI for that. My detailer LI is going to give me a crisp, clean line, like out of the box. It's going to be fired all day. I'm not going to use that if somebody says to me, I want it to look like I got a haircut 6 days ago. I'm not going to use that because it's definitely going to be too sharp. For sure. Yeah.
So next question is, do you ever get to test products out ahead of time?
I do. That's like my favorite thing ever. Now I'm on Wahl's. Basically, you know, they're testing part of their production and stuff, and it's amazing.
That must be fun.
It is. I mean, it's like I'm a kid in a candy store because they send stuff to me that either one, they're thinking about coming out with, two, like I'm testing blades to see how they hold up on all different textures of hair. And they send a lot of stuff to me just because I do so many different textures of hair. So I'm not just testing it on white people or black people or Hispanic. I'm testing it on everybody. So even different motors, different features. Like I've tested other clipper companies to see if how their feature works. You know, I'm 100% Wahl. So all of the rest of them, I think they're trash. But, you know, I mean, I know that's not nice to say, but if anybody knows me, they know I'd say that. So
you might have a little bias.
I am a little biased. I am very
So am
biased.
I,
I am. So
Right. We have
yeah. But
That's how it is. I started with Wahl.
yeah,
That
me
was my
too.
first clipper ever. I started with can you guess what I started with?
I bet you started with the home one that has the colors.
Color Pro.
Oh, that's a good. There's a lot of people that started
A
with
lot
that.
of people start with that one.
I started with the senior
Did you see? I started with the
Fancy.
designer
with the cord.
with the cord.
Fancy.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, so you kind of were big timing then.
Yeah, straight out the basement. We talked about it before.
Yes, we
on the-
did. Yes, we did.
Straight out of the basement.
Yeah, we did.
So that's awesome that you get to test out tools. I know that you can't talk about anything in the future, but do they excite you?
Very much.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that they send me, and I'm like, I need 12 of those, please. You know, I'm like, please. And Aaron will tell you, I'll send him random text messages all the time. Why is this like, why or where, what, when do I get this?
She
All right,
she sends me texts all the time, and I'm like, I have no idea.
I know.
What
I
you
just
are
really
talking
try.
about.
I do. I try and get info out of him.
Right. Question. Is there any that came out already that you were able to test long time ago?
So I tested the Legend.
Nice.
I tested the Detailer LI.
Wow.
I tested definitely the cordless Magic Clip. I tested the 100 Year,
Wow.
which was amazing.
So you've tested a lot of very, very popular tools before they came out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys are following Kristi over on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
Kristi Wahl Clippers.
There you go.
I was,
Even
and
the
you know
wall
what
and
was
the
so
username.
funny is I was so excited after our live stream. I'm almost to 7,000 people follow me. Like that's big for me.
Ooh,
I know
that's
that's
huge.
not a lot for.
No, 7,000 or
Look,
7,000.
But that's like 7,000 people that really like they know me, not like.
That's 7,000 is 7,000. I believe that it doesn't matter how many followers you have on social. I mean, like Kristi was saying earlier, you know, the real life connections are huge. You know, you could have 500 followers and have a lot of influence and a lot of knowledge. You could have 3 followers and know so many people. And you could have 1 million followers and, you know, still do the same thing. So shout out to Kristi reaching 7,000. Let's go.
like you said, it's the impact that you make on an individual basis. You could have 1 follower, but if your 1 follower is the guy you changed his life, his career path,
Exactly.
that's the only follower you need. Like it doesn't. Of course, the number always sounds cool.
I
but,
know the number sounds like amazing.
But 7,000, that's awesome. I'm at like 350, but most of
Let's
my posts are of like my kids, so I'm not really.
Well, you should shout
in
out
that
to your
space.
kids then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they
They're
could be future
beautiful.
YouTube stars. We'll
Yeah.
see.
There you go.
We'll see. I don't know if I'm ready for that life. So another question that came up here was, what's your all-time favorite Wahl clipper?
And you know, Bird, and you asked me that the other day. But okay, so I'm going to tell you there's 2 because they have different blades. See that, like that's how ridiculous I am, is because like the blades make such a big difference with the tool. So in our cordless, definitely the 100-year, because it had the 21-degree bevel ridge blade. And a lot of people misunderstood that when we put that onto our 100-year. And the main reason is because our original senior has the 21-degree bevel ridge blade. So all these years later, we wanted to make it as authentic and as, close to the original senior. So that one for the blade and the motor, and then definitely the cordless Magic Clip. That one has always just been my baby. As soon as it came out, like, that was it.
Yeah, it's number one clipper in the world, so
yeah,
it makes sense. And then, well, for all the people who wanted the fade blade on the 100-year clipper, I mean, Metal Senior is out now by the time this podcast episode's out. So you got your wish. You asked and we delivered. So
yes. Can I actually get it in hand? Can we get let me see if we could get it in hand. So you guys asked for it. We delivered. Limited edition.
And that goes back to knowing your blades, because like a lot of people slipped on that 100-year, like they ended up not getting it, but not realizing that blade was fire. And so now after all that, everybody wanted the metal housing. They wanted the weight of it like the 100-year. They wanted the motor speed because the motor was faster in that 100-year. A lot of people don't realize that. And so they wanted that in the all metal housing. So you ask and we deliver.
We delivered.
Yeah.
We knew a lot of people wanted it all over the world. It was definitely a very, very, very popular. So make sure you get it now before they sell out, right?
Yeah.
So Bird, do you know why Wahl Clippers released the 5-star cordless senior in the UK before here?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, but it just ringed. Like at that time I was still cutting hair, and I ended up getting one from the UK here.
Okay.
And I was so excited about it because I was like, I got it when no one else has it here.
And they're so mad here.
Yes. I was mad, but luckily I was like, I had a connection there, and he sent it out. Amazing. I just didn't have a charger for it at the time because the charger was, I think it was a UK charger.
Yes, it was different.
Right. So, but no, I don't know. So
it's because the power of our corded 5-star senior, they could never handle that power of the voltage over in the UK. So when we finally released the 5-star senior, we decided to release it first in the UK because they had never had that much power.
I've never had the senior.
Never.
So the UK, Europe, they've never had a corded senior before because the power like just doesn't match.
Yeah, the voltage. I almost blew up the stage in Brazil. I always saw that.
In Brazil?
You almost
blew up a stage in Brazil?
I did.
What?
The wall stage. We did a show in Brazil. It was amazing. And so I was so excited. I go to plug in my senior. I was so excited. I plug it in and I turn it on and it was like, oh yeah, I almost blew that stage up. I mean, I was lucky I didn't. Yeah.
Whoopsies.
Maybe that's why they haven't asked me back yet. No. But that's the thing is I was so excited to be there that I was not thinking that about the differences in the voltage.
Right.
But that was an amazing thing that I learned about when we did our senior, why we released it there first.
Today, every single time I speak with you, I learned something.
That's
like
good.
one that really had me shocked, I learned now a year and some change ago, was how the tools have a little date, like a little, date on the side, and tells you when it was made. I thought that was so cool. You know how many people you blew their minds? They're like, oh my God, what? I can find out when this clipper was made?
Well, and that's Wahl does that, especially because they have the best warranty in the industry. So like the first 15 months you purchase your clipper. That's why we always tell people, purchase your clipper from reputable distributors. That's all there is to it, because they come directly from Wahl Clippers. But the first 15 months, it's completely free to you. If anything happens after the first 15 months, we don't care how long you've had it, so on and so forth. We know when it was made. So then there's usually a small fee after the first 15 months. So every single clipper, trimmer, shaver, anything that Wahl makes, there's a stamp on it that is a date that dates and tells when they send it in how old it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like so excited to here's the date code, but this is from engineering, so it wasn't. There's no date code.
There's no date.
Well, even Aaron texted me out of the blue the other day. What is your date? What is your code on the back of your Legend? And so it was just funny because, that's how like we know like when it was made,
right?
What lot it was from, really, like how many were made at that time because they all have the same date code. So there's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah, and shout out to everyone at the corporation
Yeah.
that builds the tools that change lives all around the world. You don't even understand how many lives you change as someone that's building a clipper.
Mm-hmm.
You're changing the lives of the barber so that their family can have,
The blade ladies, they're the best. That put the blade on and get
Right?
it straight. Oh yeah, the blade ladies are by far they were amazing.
And then the clients that you change lives
Yeah.
too with the tools that we use. So.
Well, this podcast is authentic if we didn't have that part staged in here. So
Yeah, no, this is
Yeah.
off the top.
So my last question is, what so far has been your best memory with working with Wahl?
Oh wow, that's
It's
that's
deep.
a tough one. I mean, I have so many.
And why is it working with Aaron?
Aaron's the best to work with. Sorry, everybody else. No.
I'm getting to meet Bird.
And of course, Bird. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, actually, because our live streams are the best ever. I look so forward to those. So
what's your favorite? Yeah, what's your best Wahl memory so far?
so far, I really think that Wahl believes in me that much to send me international. I think that's probably like so humbling for me. Like, it's just like, I still to this day still can't believe like they would want to send me to a whole nother country and educate. And so I think by far that's probably the biggest, to know that I'm able to share like the passion that I have. So, I mean, because I went to Brazil and I've been to London, and then just before COVID, I went to China. And by far, I think I grew as just not only an educator, but just as a person in general, just trying to be a better person.
I love it. And she she had the stage on fire in
Yeah,
Brazil.
like literally. It's
lit.
Like literally.
It's really lit.
And that was like the first day. I was like, oh, they're not going to let me come back.
Well, Kristi, it's been amazing having you here on the podcast.
Thank
For
you,
everyone
Fred.
watching and listening, make sure you guys follow up with her. If you have any other questions, concerns, and follow her career. She might be in your city, in your state, or in your country, setting
Yeah, right.
stages up on fire. This has been an Off the Top podcast with Aaron. Today's guest was Kristi Faulkner, the legend, the one and only. How was it? Did you like the podcast?
Amazing. Well, you guys are amazing.
Thank you.
You guys are
I
amazing.
appreciate it.
Kristi, I have nothing but love for you. We've worked together for 9 years. You're a great friend. You're a great mentor. I learn so much from you every time we talk. We have a lot of laughs. So, of course, when I had the opportunity to get Kristi on here, I'm like, I got to get her on because she's awesome, and people need to know her story
For sure.
and get to know her more. Plus, she knows way more about the tools than I do. So someone else needs to drop some knowledge here. So this has been awesome. We're probably going to try and do more and more lives and education things with you as you because again, so freaking much.
We're going to do another one. You'll see it, guys.
And
Stay tuned.
we need that.
Definitely.
We need that info out there. So we appreciate everything you do for us. And yeah, this was awesome.
I love it.
Thank
I love
you.
it. You're welcome.